Built up through 2 games, Marvel's Spider-Man 2 will finally deal with the symbiote storyline, which should be interesting considering Insomniac's history with the character. Although we don't know if either Spider-Man or which will wear the symbiote, it is most likely that Peter Parker will wear it based on tradition, and we do know that Venom will be one of the main antagonists in the game, whether that's Eddie or Harry. It's also looking like Kraven will be the other main villain, given that we can hear his voice in the teaser trailer, although we still haven't seen the character. With the symbiote storyline being adapted, it's always busy considering that one half is Peter Parker with the symbiote and the other half is Venom. This story can be considered a 2-parter, and that's sort of the reason why Venom had such minimal screen time in Spider-Man 3, since most of the film dealt with Peter Parker wearing the symbiote, and the story can continue to even multiple parts with the inclusion of the symbiote's offspring. In this video, I wanted to discuss how I think Carnage could work in Marvel Spider-Man 2 with the already more than likely busy story involving the symbiote / Venom, Miles, Wraith, and Kraven. Like I mentioned, the Carnage origin can't be considered a part of the main symbiote story since it is the first symbiote spawn and the direct offspring of the Venom symbiote. While there are other symbiote characters, Carnage is the most popular outside of Venom, and like Venom, his story deserves to be told in full. The last Spider-Man game Carnage appeared in was The Amazing Spider-Man 2, where Beanox did do an interesting take on the character, making Cletus Cassidy the one responsible for the death of Uncle Ben, and even giving an interesting origin to the name Carnage. In that game, the character wasn't a side villain, instead the game's main villain, and I expect a similar treatment to be given to Carnage if he is to appear in Marvel Spider-Man 2, and I believe there's only one way this can work. If Carnage is to appear as a fully fleshed out villain in Spider-Man 2 similar to The Amazing Spider-Man, then the best way to adapt this character's story would be through DLC. While DLC is controversial as it can be seen as cut content, a 3-part Carnage story similar to the City That Never Sleeps chapters in Spider-Man PS4 could work. What's neat about Carnage is that his original origin was a 3-part story in The Amazing Spider-Man. I own parts 2 and 3 but still need to hunt down the first issue, and a 3-part DLC could include the origin of Carnage, part 2 looking like Spider-Man is defeated, and eventually the finale when he teams up with one of the characters, if they are to loosely adapt this comic. Insomniac is no stranger to originality, as we've already seen their original take on characters, and if Insomniac were to use the origin of Carnage as an adaptation, then Miles Morales could take Venom's place in the story, since Venom is the one that helped Spider-Man defeat Carnage in those issues, and the two would most likely have experience in defeating the symbiotes based on the game's story, which all depends on what the fate of Venom is in the main story. I think the option of Carnage DLC could work, as it would give the character a fleshed out story, it could take away from the main game story which would focus on the Venom symbiote, and it could serve as an epilogue to said story. I also think that Insomniac really needs to step up the DLC come next game, considering The City That Never Sleeps put me to sleep, and although I've replayed this game multiple times, I never fully replayed the DLC, and I think Carnage is one of those villains that people would go back and replay the DLC for. So let me know what you all think. Do you like my idea of how Carnage could work in Spider-Man 2, and do you have any different ideas? Also, I featured in a video on Johnny420boy's channel, and I highly recommend checking it out because it's a good and hilarious look into the best version of Web of Shadows. And as always, thanks for watching, be sure to subscribe, follow my social medias, hit that like button, and I will see you guys again in my next video.